That, I think, is a fish. We're gonna see if it comes up.
I started fishing in Central Park because I grew up fishing and I always grew up with a deep connection to the outdoors, and moving to New York City, I thought I was going to lose that, especially like being in a high pressure environment like grad school and med school. And so I really looked for places that I could like have that nature connection and have that outlet. And so Central Park was like a block or two from my house and from my school, and it became something that I relied upon for like that sense of relaxation. And flash forward, now 7 years later, I had my first run-in with carp like as soon as I moved here, and just absolutely loved it. And within the past like 2 years, decided that I should really open this up and start showing people that like carp on the fly, carp in New York City, carp in Central Park is something that's accessible to people, and also really sort of just watch to showcase this amazing fishery that we have here in the city. I'm interested in fly fishing because I think for me it sort of represents this idea that you kind of have to know so much about the fish to sort of basically take away an instinct that like you would use if you were fishing with bait, for example. With fly fishing, it like really requires you to intimately know the food source, like what are the fish actually eating, how do I replicate that with like fur and hair and artificial like plastic tied onto a boat to look like a berry, to look like a small like freshwater clam. And I think that there's like a beauty to it, I think, of having to know the fish's like biology and what they eat, as well as like there's a technicality to it of like casting. And also I think that like for people of color especially, like a lot of people don't think people of color fly fish, and I think there's something in me that I was like, this is really important that like people can see people of color here in the park fishing, fly fishing, like sort of really kind of changing the idea and the narrative of like who fly fishes and where people fly fish and for what people fly fish for. So I think it was all just sort of Racky Seed that's really trying to like open that like world up to more people. So like for me, discovering and sort of really like, bringing more people into this idea of like fly fishing here in Central Park was just like something that wasn't my original idea, like fly fishing in the park, but I think it's something that like I just really care a lot and I love. It's like as soon as I caught a fish, I just like had to go back, had to tell my friends, had to like, do you want to come catch a carp? And I think it really just sort of spiraled into this thing where I was like, you know what, this is like something that people are like asking me to go and do, and also I really love being able to like show this to people. It's like such a special thing to do this in the part of the city, and then go out and you're in like Midtown